My heels click against the polished marble of my apartment building's lobby, echoing in the emptiness of a Tuesday evening. Another 14-hour workday behind me, another milestone reached for Horizon Brands. The client had practically hugged me after my presentation. I check my phone again. Still nothing. The elevator doors slide open with a soft chime, and I step inside, watching my reflection in the mirrored walls. Quinn Edwards, 32 years old today, senior PR executive, wearing exhaustion like an expensive perfume. My green eyes look back at me, searching for something worth celebrating. The number on my screen doesn't change. 0 messages, 0 calls. I tell myself it doesn't matter. I'm a grown woman who handles multi-million-dollar accounts. Birthdays are for children. But when I unlock my apartment door, the small cake I'd bought myself that morning sits accusingly on my coffee table. A single candle stands unlit in its center, a pathetic little soldier awaiting orders that won't come. Happy birthday to me, I whisper to no one. I drop my leather briefcase by the sofa and kick off my heels, sinking onto the cushions. My apartment feels hollow tonight, despite the careful decorating I'd done to make it feel like home. The clock on my wall ticks steadily toward midnight, counting down the final minutes of my birthday. My phone remains stubbornly silent. I reach for my laptop, thinking I'll distract myself with work until this day is officially over. Maybe check that proposal one more time. But instead, my fingers betray me, opening Facebook. The first post freezes me in place. There's my brother Miles, champagne glass raised high, surrounded by smiling faces. Behind him hangs a banner. Congratulations on your promotion. My father's arm is draped around his shoulder, pride radiating from his face. My mother stands on his other side, beaming up at her son. The timestamp shows the photos were posted 4 hours ago. My birthday. I scroll down, each image a fresh wound. Dozens of pictures. The entire extended family there. Aunts, uncles, cousins I haven't seen in years. All gathered around Miles, celebrating. The comments swim before my eyes. So proud of our superstar, my father wrote. The Edwards family legacy continues, my mother added. My hand trembles as I set the laptop down. They didn't forget my birthday. They chose to celebrate something else instead. Again. The memory surfaces without invitation. Sitting alone at the restaurant table, 11 years old, a single birthday candle melting into my cake as I waited for my family to return from Miles's debate competition. They'd promised they'd be back in time. They weren't. Then, at 17, shipped off to Grandma's house on my birthday weekend while my parents toured Yale with Miles. It's his future, Quinn, Dad had explained, not quite meeting my eyes. My college graduation, overshadowed by Miles's engagement announcement at what was supposed to be my celebration dinner. The conversation quickly shifted from my summa cum laude honors to wedding venues and guest lists. Just last month, my father dismissed the Horizon campaign that increased client revenue by 41%. It's just advertising, Quinn, he'd said, glancing at his watch. Not like Miles's work in finance. That's the real impact. I pick up my phone and scroll through my contacts. Family names blur together. People who've never once called to ask about my accomplishments, my struggles, my life. An email notification pops up on my screen. I open it mechanically, then blink at the message. My performance bonus for the Horizon campaign, $82,000. My phone rings, startling me. My mother's name appears on the screen. For one foolish moment, hope flutters in my chest. Hello? I answer, hating the eagerness in my voice. Quinn, darling. My mother's voice bubbles through the speaker. I'm so glad I caught you. Listen, we're planning a little something for Miles and Jessica's anniversary next month, and I was hoping you could help out. Nothing major, just handling the catering and maybe the decorations. You're so good at that sort of thing. The clock strikes midnight. My birthday is officially over. Mom, I say, my voice shaking. Today was my birthday. A pause. Oh, she sounds genuinely surprised. Oh, honey, with Miles's big promotion, it just slipped our mind. Slipped their mind. Like always, I stare at the email still open on my laptop. $82,000. More money than I've ever had at once. Something shifts inside me, like tectonic plates sliding into a new formation. My voice steadies. Don't worry about it, Mom, I say, the words coming from somewhere new and unfamiliar. I understand what's important to this family. And for the first time in my life, I truly do. 4 days later at work, my fingertips hover over the keyboard, frozen in disbelief. The group chat that I am not part of, but thanks to Mom's accidental invitation, I entered it. Threads sprawled across my screen like a crime scene, each message more damning than the last. Quinn should contribute significantly to Miles's anniversary gift, my father wrote. At least $20,000. My mother's reply appears below. She just got that bonus. Time she supports the family for once. And there it is. My name, spelled Quinn, in the family thread. 1, instead of 2. My own mother can't even spell my name correctly. I lean back in my office chair, the leather creaking beneath me. The Chicago skyline stretches beyond my window, buildings glittering in the afternoon sunday. Inside Horizon PR's glass-walled conference room, I'm supposed to be preparing for tomorrow's client meeting. Instead, I'm discovering just how little I matter to the people who should care most. My phone vibrates. Jennifer pokes her head through my doorway, her dark curls bouncing as she enters. "Your brother's online too," she says, then narrows her eyes at my expression. "Everything okay?" "Miles used our contacts at Regen Tech," I say, turning my laptop toward her. "Pulled their marketing director into a meeting for his investment firm, without asking me." Jennifer scans the emails, her frown deepening. "This is the third time he's done this. And your dad thinks you should give him 20 grand for an anniversary party?" She lets out a low whistle. "That's messed up, Quinn." "Apparently it's time I support the family for once," I say, the words bitter on my tongue. "What exactly have they done for you lately?" Jennifer asks, perching on the edge of my desk. Her bluntness is why we've been friends since orientation day 5 years ago. The question hangs in the air as my office phone continues blinking. Miles, waiting for me to pick up. Probably wants another contact, another favor. "Your bonus was well earned," Jennifer continues. "Lawrence wouldn't have approved it otherwise." As if summoned, my boss appears in the doorway. Lawrence Chen, CEO of Horizon PR, immaculate in his charcoal suit despite the late hour. "Quinn, the Westfield campaign numbers just came in," he says, sliding a folder across my desk. 41% increase in their quarterly revenue. The board is ecstatic. His smile reaches his eyes. "This is why I fought for your bonus. You've earned every penny." After he leaves, Jennifer squeezes my shoulder. "See? At least someone appreciates you." I finally answer Miles's call, keeping my voice professional despite the anger simmering beneath my skin. He needs Regen Tech's chief marketing officer at his dinner tomorrow. Important potential client. Family helping family. "I'll see what I can do," I say, non-committal. That evening, I stop at Mrs. Bennett's apartment on the 3rd floor. She opens the door with a warm smile that crinkles the corners of her eyes, the scent of freshly baked cookies wafting from her kitchen. "Right on time," she says, ushering me inside. At 84, Mrs. Bennett moves with the determination of someone half her age. These oatmeal cookies won't eat themselves. We sat at her small kitchen table, the checkered tablecloth soft beneath my fingers. For 3 years, Tuesday evenings have been our ritual. Me bringing takeout, her providing dessert. The family I've chosen rather than the one I was born into. "You look troubled," she observes, pushing the cookie plate closer. I tell her about the emails, about Miles using my contacts, about the $20,000 they expect me to contribute. And they spelled my name wrong. I finish, hearing the childish hurt in my voice. Mrs. Bennett's hand covers mine. Some parents never see their children clearly, too busy looking at their own reflection. Her words follow me home, lingering as I change for the family dinner I've been dreading for days. My apartment feels like a sanctuary now, away from what awaits me at my parents' house. On Saturday evening, the Edwards family mansion looms over Lakeshore Drive, 3 stories of stone and privilege. Inside, my mother, Claudia, fusses with flower arrangements while my father, Richard, pours himself a scotch. Miles and his wife, Jessica, sit on the leather sofa, looking like a country club advertisement. Dinner progresses with the usual choreography. My father dominates the conversation, detailing Miles's recent promotion. My mother interjects with the perfect anecdote. I push salmon around my plate, waiting for the inevitable. "It comes with dessert. Quinn," my father says, setting down his coffee cup with authoritative precision. "We need to discuss your contribution to Miles and Jessica's anniversary celebration." The room seems to contract. All eyes turn to me. 20,000 would cover the venue and catering, he continues. As the only family member with a recent windfall, it seems appropriate. My mother nods, her pearl earrings catching the light. Family supports family, darling. The words trigger something in me. Family supports family. When had they supported me? I can't, I say quietly. My father frowns, not processing my refusal. I beg your pardon? I can't contribute $20,000. My voice steadies. That's a quarter of my bonus. I have other plans for it. Silence descends, thick and unfamiliar. No one in this room is accustomed to hearing no from Quinn Edwards. What other plans could possibly take precedence over your brother's celebration? My father's voice drops dangerously. My future, I answer simply. My mother's face crumples. After all we've done for you, she whispers, tears gathering. The performance is flawless, designed to maximize guilt. What exactly have you done for me? The question slips out before I can stop it. My father rises, towering over the table. I will not tolerate ingratitude in this house. Your brother is the real achiever in this family. The least you can do is support his success. His words strike with precision, finding the bruise he's been pressing my entire life. I stand, legs unsteady beneath me. I need to go, I say, gathering my purse. My mother reaches for my arm. Quinn, please, don't make a scene. But for once, I don't retreat into silence. I don't smooth things over. I walk out the front door, guilt trailing behind me like a shadow. But something else too. Resolution. For the first time in 32 years, I've refused to fade into the background of my brother's life. It feels terrifying. It feels right. In my car, hands still trembling on the steering wheel, I make a promise to myself. This is just the beginning. A week later, Mother calls every morning at precisely 7:15. I've started leaving my phone in the bathroom while I make coffee. Quinn, sweetie, this rebellious phase needs to end. Her voice echoes from the speaker as I apply mascara. Your father hasn't slept properly since that dinner. I watch myself in the mirror, cataloging the familiar tightness around my mouth. Mom, I'm not rebellious. I'm 32. Then why are you breaking our hearts, after everything we've sacrificed for you? The mascara wand freezes midair. What exactly have you sacrificed for me? She gasps, genuinely shocked. How can you ask that? We gave you everything. I have a meeting. I need to go. I hang up before she can respond. By afternoon, my father strides through the glass doors of Horizon Brands, his tailored suit and commanding presence turning heads. Jennifer catches my eye across the conference room, mouthing code red before disappearing. I intercept him near reception. Dad, this is my workplace. Then you should conduct yourself like a professional. His voice carries, drawing attention from nearby cubicles. Professionals honor their family obligations. Lower your voice. I guide him toward an empty meeting room, acutely aware of curious glances. What do you want? Your mother hasn't stopped crying. Is that what you wanted? To punish us because we missed one birthday? The dismissal ignites something molten inside me. Try 20 years of birthdays, graduations, and achievements. You always exaggerate. He checks his watch. The point is, Miles deserves our support. $20,000 from your bonus is more than fair. My phone buzzes with an emergency alert from our biggest client. I have to handle this crisis. We'll talk later. I do too on. This conversation isn't finished, Quinn. Actually, it is. I close the door behind me, hands trembling but voice steady as I dial the client. 3 hours later, I stand before our executive team, presenting the crisis management strategy that saved the Westridge account. My voice doesn't waver once. That was extraordinary work. Our CEO says afterward, hand on my shoulder. You just saved a $3 million account with that quick thinking. The client called me personally to sing your praises. Pride blooms warm in my chest, unfamiliar but welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Walking back to my office, I notice 6 missed calls from Miles and a text. Mom's crying every night because of you. Fix this. Fix. I silence my phone and turn to the stack of congratulatory emails from colleagues and clients. The contrast is stark. At work, I'm valued. At home, I'm an afterthought unless I'm giving something. 3 weeks after my birthday, I sit alone in a corner cafe, laptop open, a half-eaten slice of carrot cake beside me. At a nearby table, a group of friends surround a young woman wearing a paper crown. They laugh, offering gifts wrapped in shiny paper. Make a wish, Amanda. Someone calls as she blows out her candles. I watch their easy affection, the genuine celebration of her existence. The realization settles like a stone. I will never have this with my family. No amount of achievement will make them see me. My fingers hover over the keyboard. Without quite deciding to, I type, Lakefront Property, Michigan. The search yields dozens of results. I click on one, a 4-bedroom house with wide windows facing the water, wooden deck wrapping around 3 sides, mature pine trees offering privacy. Price, $365,000. I study the photos, something expanding in my chest with each swipe. This could be mine, my refuge, my choice. The next morning, I call a realtor and arrange a private viewing. 2 days later, I stand on that wooden deck, watching sunlight dance across the lake's surface. The owners are motivated sellers. The realtor explains. They've already moved to Arizona. I'll take it, I hear myself say. I can make a substantial down payment. Her eyebrows lift. Don't you want to think about it? Maybe bring your family to see it? No. The word feels clean, definitive. This is for me. Days later, the mortgage approval comes through quickly, thanks to my excellent credit. I sign papers in a quiet office, each signature feeling like a declaration of independence. Mrs. Bennett, my elderly neighbor who's shown more interest in my life than my mother ever has, accompanies me to the closing. You're doing the right thing, dear, she says, patting my hand as I receive the keys. Sometimes we need to build our own sanctuary. For the first time in weeks, my hands are perfectly steady. I spend weekends at the lake house, transforming it room by room. The walls fill with framed awards and photographs of moments I'm proud of: my college graduation, the team celebration, after landing the Westridge account, the magazine cover featuring my PR campaign. The master bedroom becomes my favorite space. I hang a small wooden sign on the door, the birthday suite. Inside, I place a reading chair by the window overlooking the lake, stack books I've always wanted to read on the nightstand, and splurge on the softest bedding I can find. On a bright Sunday, I type out housewarming invitations to Jennifer, my colleagues, and Mrs. Bennett. My finger hovers over my family contacts, a lifetime of conditioning urging me to include them. Instead, I press send, only to those who have celebrated my successes, who see me clearly. The action feels small but momentous, like the first stone in a foundation of boundaries I'm only beginning to build. That night, I sit on my deck, watching stars reflect on the dark water, phone deliberately left inside. For the first time in my adult life, I feel powerful. Not just successful or accomplished, but powerful in the way that comes from choosing yourself when no one else will. Tomorrow, the calls will continue. The guilt trips will intensify. But here, in this space that belongs only to me, their voices finally begin to fade. On Sunday, my thumb hovers over the post button. 3 deep breaths. Then, I press it. The photo isn't particularly special, just me on the new cedar deck, barefoot with a glass of Pinot Noir, Lake Michigan stretching blue and endless behind me. What matters is the caption, "Weekend at my new lake house, birthday gift, to myself." I set my phone screen down on the weathered wooden railing and lift my face to the golden Michigan sunset. The September air carries a hint of autumn, crisp against my skin. For 20 minutes, I simply breathe, watching light dance across gentle waves, while chickadees call from nearby pines. When I finally check my phone, the notification count stops me cold. 17 missed calls, 32 text messages. My mother has called 8 times in 15 minutes. I silence the ringer and slip the phone into the pocket of my jeans. Not today. Instead, I settle into the Adirondack chair I assembled myself yesterday, after writing invitations, and watch the sun sink lower, painting the water in shades of amber and rose. The lake house isn't enormous: 4 bedrooms, open kitchen, stone fireplace, but every inch belongs to me. Every decision, from the sage green exterior paint to the vintage brass doorknobs, reflects choices I made without seeking anyone's approval. My phone vibrates again, persistent as a wasp. When I glance at the screen, Jennifer's comment appears. "You deserve this and more. Can't wait to see it in person." Monday morning at work brings 6 voicemails from my mother, each progressively more frantic than the last. "Quinn, call me back immediately. Where did you get money for a house? Your father wants to know. This is completely irresponsible behavior. Call us. People are asking questions we can't answer. How do you think this makes us look? Your brother is driving to your work right now. You better be there. The final message arrives at 10 a.m. There's a family emergency meeting tomorrow night. We expect you there. Don't make this worse than it already is. I delete them all and make blueberry pancakes in my new kitchen. By afternoon, I've hung curtains in the master bedroom and assembled the patio furniture when my work phone rings. It's Jennifer. Your brother showed up at the office looking for you, she says without preamble. He seemed pretty shaken when I told him you'd taken the week off. Asked if I knew where you were. What did you tell him? That your whereabouts weren't my information to share. Then he got that Edwards family look, you know, the one like I was the unreasonable one for respecting your privacy. I laugh, surprising myself with the sound. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. He cornered Devin from accounting, who mentioned something about Michigan. So heads up, they might figure it out. I gaze out at my lakefront property, where autumn leaves drift across fresh-cut grass. Let them. Saturday brings my improvised housewarming. Colleagues from the agency arrive with practical gifts and genuine smiles. My boss Greg brings an expensive bottle of Cabernet with a handwritten note, to celebrating yourself. We toast on the deck while watching boats drift by. Mrs. Bennett arrives last, her silver hair swept into an elegant bun. She carries a quilt made from fabric scraps in shades of blue and green. For your bedroom, she says, eyes crinkling with warmth. Every home needs something handmade with love. I blink back unexpected tears as she wraps her arms around me. I'm so proud of you, she whispers. We grill steaks and corn on the deck. Someone brings a portable speaker, and 80-second music mingles with laughter and conversation. I take photos of everything. Friends sprawled on new furniture, sunset reflections in windows, Mrs. Bennett teaching Jennifer how to properly fold napkins. I post these images too, each one highlighting the absence of my family, while showcasing the people who actually show up for me. Sunday evening, my father texts, "Where did you get house money?" Answer immediately. I pour another glass of wine and don't respond. On Monday, I came back to work, and the family gossip network was fully activated. My cousin Elaine calls, voice hushed with calculated concern. "Everyone's talking about your lake house," she says. "Aunt Claudia is beside herself. Uncle Richard wanted to call a family meeting, but you weren't there." "I was busy hanging shelves," I reply, surprised by my own calm. "Quinn." She pauses dramatically. "People are saying things." "What things?" "That you've been hiding money. That you're having some kind of breakdown. That this is all because you're jealous of Miles's success." I laugh then, a real laugh that bubbles up from somewhere new inside me. That sounds exactly like something my family would say. The call that finally comes Thursday night is from my mother. I answer on the fourth ring, settling into my porch swing. "Quinn, Elizabeth Edwards." She begins, voice tight with controlled fury. "This has gone far enough. The Petersons, the Carsons, even Reverend Wallace has asked about your situation." My situation? This attention-seeking behavior. Buying a house without consulting the family. Posting those photos. People are asking questions. I rock gently, watching a heron glide across the water. "What questions?" Her voice drops to a whisper. "Why you would need to buy yourself a birthday present. Why we weren't there to help you celebrate. It's creating a very uncomfortable situation for this family." "How interesting." I keep my voice light. It's almost like actions have consequences. "We need to fix this." Her voice hardens with purpose. "I'm organizing a family dinner Sunday night. Your father and I will explain that this was all a misunderstanding. That we've always supported you." The old Quinn would have agreed immediately, desperate to smooth things over. But that Quinn doesn't live here anymore. "I'm available Tuesday next week," I say instead. 7 o'clock, and I'll bring the photo albums. "What photo albums?" I smile into the phone. The ones I've been keeping since I was 11 years old, documenting everything. Documenting. For once, my mother has nothing to say. On Tuesday next week, the granite steps of my parents' mansion stretch before me like a courthouse walkway. I grip the 3 photo albums tighter against my chest, my knuckles whitening around their edges. The evening sun casts long shadows across the manicured lawn, shadows that seem to reach for me, trying to pull me back into old patterns. I ring the doorbell instead of using my key. Tonight, I'm not family. I'm a prosecutor with evidence. The heavy oak door swings open. Dad stands there, all 6'2" of him framed in the doorway, his silver hair perfectly combed despite the hour. His eyes flick to the albums in my arms, then back to my face. "You're late," he says, turning away without waiting for a response. No hug, no smile, just criticism. I follow him into the foyer where Mom waits, tissues already clutched in her hand. Her eyes are red-rimmed, makeup carefully applied to look like she's been crying without actually ruining her appearance. "Quinn," her voice breaks dramatically. "We've been so worried." I don't answer. The script is too familiar, her tears, my guilt, my eventual surrender. Not tonight. Miles appears from the living room, drink in hand. He pauses when he sees me, his expression shifting from casual confidence to something uncertain. I stand straighter, holding his gaze until he looks away first. "Dinner's getting cold," Mom says, turning toward the dining room. The table is set with the good china, candles flickering in sterling silver holders. A peace offering, or a bribe. I place the photo albums on the sideboard and take my usual seat opposite Miles, diagonal from the head of the table where Dad reigns. "Your mother made your favorite," Dad says, serving himself first as always, beef Wellington. "It hasn't been my favorite since high school. Miles prefers it. Let's just cut to the chase," I say, leaving my plate empty. "I know why you called this dinner." Mom sets down her fork with a theatrical sigh. "Quinn, sweetheart, we're just concerned about your impulsive decisions. Buying that lake house without consulting us?" Dad interjects, knife slicing through his meat with surgical precision. It reflects poorly on the family image. Reckless spending, poor financial planning. "It was my bonus money," I say quietly. "Money that could have been invested properly," he continues as if I hadn't spoken. "Or contributed to something meaningful for the family." Miles clears his throat. "Quinn, no one's saying you can't have nice things, but maybe selling it would keep peace in the family. Mom's been crying every night." Mom dabs at eyes that remain suspiciously dry. "You're breaking your mother's heart," she whispers. I push back my chair and walk to the sideboard. The album feels heavy in my hands as I return, placing it at the center of the table. "I brought something I thought you should see." Dad's mouth tightens. "We don't have time for scrapbooks." "Make time." My voice doesn't waver. I open the first album, pages of Miles in party hats, Miles blowing out candles, Miles surrounded by towers of presents. Ages 6 through 25, each birthday documented with professional photography. "Turn to page 16, I tell Miles. He hesitates, then flips the page. A photo of his 18th birthday. A car with a giant bow, Dad handing him keys, Mom crying tears of actual joy. I slide the second album forward. "This one's mine." Mom reaches for it first. Her fingers tremble slightly as she opens it. Empty pages stare back at her. A few scattered photos, me alone with store-bought cupcakes. One of Mrs. Bennett hugging me on my 30th. Nothing else. There was nothing to put in it, I explain. "On my 21st birthday, you were at Miles's engagement party. Remember?" Miles flinches. I open the third album without waiting for a response. Family vacations, Disney World, the Grand Canyon. European tours. "I'm not in these because I wasn't there," I say. "I was left with Grandma, or at summer camp, or told there wasn't enough money for everyone to go." Dad stands abruptly, chair scraping against hardwood. "What's the point of this melodrama, Quinn? You've always been the difficult one." The point is evidence. Next comes a spreadsheet, printed and highlighted. This tracks family spending. Miles versus me. College tuition. Birthday gifts. Car down payments. Family trips. The numbers tell their own story. Thousands for Miles, hundreds for me. "And this," I say, pulling out a worn diary page, "is from when I was 9. I read aloud, "Maybe next year they'll remember my birthday without Grandma calling to remind them." Finally, I produce a photograph. Christmas dinner, 3 years ago. An empty chair at the table, a place setting with my name on a card. I was in Chicago, working. You knew I couldn't come, but you set a place anyway, took this picture, and sent it to me with, "We missed you." You wanted me to feel guilty for not being there. But I was the only one who noticed something. I point to the chair. "Look closer." Mom takes the photo, squinting. "That's not my usual chair," I say quietly. "That's where guests sit. Even when you're pretending I belong, I'm still an outsider." The silence stretches between us, taut as a wire. Dad's face darkens to crimson. "What do you want from us, Quinn? An apology? Fine. We favored Miles. He was always the priority. He's carrying on the Edwards name, the Edwards legacy. Mom crumples, real tears now. We didn't mean to. It just happened. And then it became a pattern, and I was easier to ignore. I finish for her. Miles hasn't spoken. He's staring at a photo I deliberately placed at the edge of the table. Him at 8, surrounded by presents. Me at 6, watching from the background, mouth tight in a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. I stand, gathering my evidence except for the albums. Those I leave behind. I don't need your approval anymore. I say, voice clear and steady. I don't need your love or your attention or your validation. I waited 32 years for you to see me. I'm done waiting. I turn toward the door, shoulders straight, steps unhurried. Behind me, Miles calls my name. Mom sobs. Dad remains silent. I pause at the threshold, not looking back. The albums are yours to keep. Consider them a gift. The door closes behind me with a quiet click that echoes like thunder. A year later, on my birthday, the morning sun paints gold across my lake house deck as I arrange a tray of fresh fruit beside a champagne bucket. 33 candles waited on the cake. Jennifer insisted on bringing one for each year, plus one for luck. Need any help? Mark from marketing calls from the sliding door, balancing a platter of pastries. Just set those anywhere. I smooth my red sundress and check my watch. Everyone should be here within the hour. A year makes quite the difference. Last birthday, I sat alone in my apartment with a store-bought cake. Today, my deck bustles with colleagues and new friends, all here to celebrate me. My phone buzzes with congratulatory texts about my promotion to senior director. The timing feels poetic, announced yesterday, celebrated today. The lake sparkles beyond the railing, reflecting the sky that matches my mood. Dr. Levine, my therapist, would call this progress. Our weekly sessions have helped me understand the family dynamics that shaped me. Generational patterns, she calls them. Breaking them takes courage. Courage looks like spending Thanksgiving at a resort in Vermont instead of my parents' house. Like muting group texts when they turn manipulative. Like building my own traditions from scratch. Quinn! Jennifer raises her mimosa glass. To the birthday girl who taught us all how to choose ourselves. Glasses clink. Laughter ripples. I absorb the warmth of genuine connection, so different from the hollow performance of family gatherings. A car door slams out front. I know that engine sound. My brother's BMW. Miles stands awkwardly at the edge of the deck, holding a wrapped package. The party conversation dims as he approaches. Sorry to crash, he says. I wanted to give you this in person. We haven't spoken since the photo album confrontation. Since he watched his perfect family narrative crumble under the weight of evidence. Join us, I say, surprising myself with how much I mean it. Later, when the party moves indoors, Miles and I sit at the end of the dock. The package rests between us, still wrapped. Therapy's been eye-opening, he admits, watching a sailboat cut across the horizon. Dad still won't go, but Mom's trying. She talks about you differently now. And you? I ask. I never saw it until you showed us. How they erased you while spotlighting me. He pushes the package toward me. Open it. Inside is a framed photograph I've never seen before. Me at 7, perched on our old tire swing, laughing at something beyond the camera. Just me. Found it in Dad's storage boxes, Miles explains. Had it restored. Proof you existed, even when nobody was looking. My throat tightens. Not a solution, but a beginning. A knock at the lake house door pulls me back to the party. Through the glass, I see my mother standing alone on the porch, clutching a small bakery box. She insisted on coming, Miles says. I didn't tell her where until today. Mom's hands tremble as she holds out the box. Inside sits a cupcake with a single candle. Happy birthday, Quinn, she whispers, her rehearsed smile faltering into something more genuine. I brought carrot cake. You always liked that, didn't you? I did, she remembered. The party's winding down, I say, stepping aside. You can stay for cake if you'd like. Her relief is palpable. Small steps. After everyone leaves, I walk back to the dock as twilight settles over the lake. Last year, I spent my birthday staring at an empty inbox in a sterile cafe. Tonight, I'm surrounded by gifts chosen with care, echoes of laughter, and the beginnings of boundaries that protect without isolating. My phone chimes with a text from Mrs. Bennett. Did you enjoy your day, dear? I smile as I type my reply. For the first time, I truly celebrated myself. The lake house windows glow behind me, light reflecting on the gentle waves. I raise my glass to my silhouette against the sunset, toasting the woman who finally learned that validation begins within. What gift have you given yourself that changed everything? The letter trembles in my hand as I stand frozen in my living room. CBS New York wants me as their weekend anchor. My dream job, my shot at the big leagues, everything I've worked toward since journalism school. I should be jumping, screaming, calling everyone I know. Instead, I'm listening to my family plot against me from the kitchen. She can't possibly think we'd let her move to New York, my mother says, her voice carrying through the doorway. After everything we've done for her. Celine needs her here, my father adds. You're still establishing your acting career. I inch closer to the doorway, the cream-colored envelope still clutched in my fingers. How do they even know about this? The letter arrived today, addressed to me at the station. I saw the email from CBS in her account last week. Celine's voice, my younger sister. My heart drops like a stone. I was just borrowing her laptop to check my audition schedule, and it popped up. My sister has been reading my emails. My family has been discussing my future without me. The betrayal burns hot in my chest, igniting something I've kept buried for years. We just need to remind her of her responsibilities. My mother continues. Family comes first. It always has. I step into the kitchen doorway, letter held high. 3 faces snap toward me, transforming instantly from conspiracy to concern. Alara! My father recovers first, his weathered face rearranging into fatherly worry. We were just discussing how dangerous New York would be for you, sweetheart. My mother dabs at the corners of her eyes, no tears visible. Family needs to stay together. You know that. Celine reaches for my hand across the granite countertop. I thought we were a team, Alara. Her perfect eyebrows draw together in practiced distress. How could you even consider leaving? I look at them, really look at them perhaps for the first time. My parents, both still in their work clothes despite it being well past dinner time. My sister, flawless in her casual elegance, the outfit I helped her pick for yesterday's commercial audition. The memories flood through me in vivid flashes. Driving Celine to auditions across 3 states while missing the station's editorial meeting where they assigned the city council corruption story, my story, to someone else. Writing check after check for Celine's acting classes while my apartment ceiling leaked for the 3rd straight month. Last Christmas, when my promotion to lead local reporter warranted a passing mention, while Celine's callback for a yogurt commercial received champagne and tears. The position is anchor, not reporter, I say quietly, watching their expressions shift. Weekend anchor at CBS New York. My father's face darkens. You can't seriously be considering this, Alara. What about your sister's career? What about your mother and me? What about us? Celine echoes, her voice rising. I have 3 auditions next week. Who's going to drive me? Who's going to help me with my lines? My mother reaches for my arm. After everything we've sacrificed for you. Her fingers press into my skin. Your father helped pay for your journalism degree. The scholarships I earned paid for my degree. The scholarships they claimed credit for when telling family friends about their successful daughter. But that's not the battle I want to fight right now. I'm considering the offer. I say, each word deliberate and clear. The kitchen falls silent. My father's mouth opens, then closes. My mother's hand drops from my arm as if burned. You can't be serious, Celine whispers. You're just going to abandon us? After everything? It's an anchor position, I repeat, at CBS New York. My father's voice hardens. You have obligations here, Alara. Family obligations. We're counting on you. The familiar weight of guilt presses down on my shoulders, but something else rises to meet it. Something that feels dangerously like freedom. I fold the letter carefully and slip it into my pocket. Without another word, I turn and walk out of the kitchen. Alara? My mother calls after me. Where are you going? We need to discuss this. Alara, Celine's voice rises in panic. You can't just walk away. But I can. And I do. For the first time in years, I don't apologize. I don't reassure them. I don't promise to reconsider. Behind me, their voices rise in confusion, then, alarm. The sound grows distant as I close my bedroom door, leaning against it, letter clutched to my chest. They're scared, not for me, but for themselves. And for once, that's not my problem to solve. At my apartment, the next day, The bank statements spread across my kitchen table tell a story no one in my family has bothered to read. Each highlighted transaction forms a pattern: $800 for Celine's acting workshop, $1,200 for her headshots, $350 for her dialect coach. 3 years of statements, 36 months of financial drainage disguised as family support. I flip through my planner, post-it notes marking the career events I missed. The investigative journalism conference in Chicago crossed out with Celine's callback scribbled over it. The producer lunch canceled for Celine's emergency audition prep. The weekend training workshop abandoned halfway through because Celine needs moral support before her big commercial. My phone buzzes again, the 5th call from my mother in 2 hours. I let it ring while surveying my apartment, the water stain on the ceiling that grew from dinner plate to car tire size over 6 months, the second-hand furniture I've kept since college, the single luxury I allow myself. A decent coffee maker. All while paying half the rent on Celine's downtown luxury condo because appearances matter in the entertainment industry. The phone stops, then immediately starts again. Alara, this has gone far enough. My mother's voice rises with practiced distress. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. Is that what you want? I tuck the phone against my shoulder while opening a folder labeled Celine's Recommendations, 12 reference letters I've written for her, my journalism awards, hidden in a shoebox under my bed. Mom, I'm still considering the offer. My voice sounds steadier than it feels. There's nothing to consider. We raised you to understand family obligations. After all we've done for you. The folder slips from my hands, papers scattering across the floor. What exactly have you done for me, Mom? The silence stretches thin before her reply comes, knife sharp. I see you've made your choice then. The call ends before I can respond. 20 minutes later, my father calls. His approach differs from my mother's emotional ambush. It's financial warfare. Celine can't manage without your help, Alara. You know that. His voice carries the weight of assumed authority. The lease renewal on her apartment is next month. And what about her car payment? I stare at the co-signed lease agreement in my hand. Maybe it's time she learned. This isn't like you. The disappointment in his voice would have crushed me 3 days ago. We've always been able to count on you. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? My phone pings with notifications. Celine's Instagram post appears on my screen. A black and white photo of her staring wistfully out a window, caption reading, "When family abandons you just as your dreams begin to take flight. Heartbroken, family, betrayal." The comments flood in. Cousins, aunts, old family friends, all rushing to comfort poor, abandoned Celine. My phone rings again. Aunt Martha. Alara, honey. Her voice once offered comfort during family storms. Now she's part of the squall. You need to think about what you're doing. Celine is devastated. Do the right thing, dear. I hang up without answering. At work, I huddle over my desk, trying to focus on the city council corruption story. Thomas, the station's senior reporter, stops by my cubicle. Hey, heard about CBS. He drops his voice. New York would be lucky to have you. I look up, surprised by the genuine pride in his eyes. Thanks. Not everyone feels that way. Family giving you grief? He leans against my desk. Listen, my sister tried the same guilt trip when I moved to Chicago. Best decision I ever made. Later that evening, I bump into Mrs. Winters in the apartment hallway. At 78, she's watched me haul Celine's furniture, drive Celine to auditions, and return exhausted for years. Heard you talking on the phone earlier. She adjusts her glasses. About New York. I nod, waiting for the familiar lecture about family responsibility. It's time you lived for yourself, dear. Her weathered hand squeezes mine. Some birds push others from the nest. Others need to be pushed themselves. My phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca, my college roommate. They'll survive without you, but will you survive without this opportunity? When Friday arrives, my mother calls with an invitation that sounds more like a summons. Family dinner tomorrow night. Everyone will be there. I recognize the setup immediately, the staged intervention. Saturday evening, I park outside my parents' home, watching aunts, uncles, and cousins arrive bearing casseroles and concerned expressions. Taking a deep breath, I walk inside. The performance begins immediately. Uncle Robert's hand on my shoulder. Family means sacrifice, Alara. Cousin Jennifer's tearful reminder. Your sister needs your support now more than ever. My grandmother's gentle guilt. In my day, sisters never abandoned each other. Celine sits at the table's center, eyes artfully reddened, voice breaking as she speaks. I don't know how I'll manage without you. My career is at such a critical point. I remain silent, watching each practice line, each coordinated glance. The manipulation that once felt like love now lies exposed under the dining room lights. My mother passes the mashed potatoes with trembling hands. Alara has always understood the importance of family. She'll make the right choice. But they've miscalculated. Their performance only strengthens my resolve. Each manipulative word, each tearful glance, each assumed sacrifice, all of it pushing me further toward New York, toward freedom. I take the potatoes, serve myself a generous portion, and for the first time in years, I eat while they talk, savoring each bite as they try desperately to pull the strings that no longer control me. Next week, the Instagram notification pings on my phone. Another perfectly filtered photo of Celine, mascara-stained tears catching the light just so, captioned, "When the person you trusted most abandons you without warning." 300 sympathetic comments and counting. At my office, I toss the phone onto my couch and continue packing books into cardboard boxes. This marks day 5 of what I've come to think of as the public shaming of Alara Wilson. Celine has posted twice daily, each photo more dramatically lit than the last, each caption more heart-wrenching. Alara. I turn to find Denise from Weather standing in my cubicle doorway at the station, concern etched into her forehead. Is everything okay with your family? My husband plays racquetball with your father, and he mentioned you've been having difficulties. Everything's fine, I say, arranging my face into what I hope passes for confusion rather than the simmering anger bubbling beneath my skin. Well, if you need anything. She squeezes my arm. Family always comes first. By lunchtime, 3 more colleagues approach with similarly worded concerns. The station suddenly feels smaller, suffocating. I escape to my car, gripping the steering wheel, until my knuckles whiten. Family troubles can affect job performance. I overhear station manager Davis telling someone as I pass his open office door later that afternoon. My father's voice answers, "We're just concerned about Alara's stability right now. These family commitments." I freeze mid-step, a stack of research files clutched to my chest. My father is speaking with my boss. About me. Without me. That evening, I sit cross-legged on my apartment floor, breathing deeply the way the meditation app instructs. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The familiar knot in my stomach tightens anyway. I've never been good at meditation. Too many thoughts crowding my mind. Instead, I open the leather-bound journal Rebecca sent me last week. The first pages stare back at me, intimidatingly blank. Rebecca's note tucked inside reads, "Remember who you were before they told you who to be." I begin writing, hesitantly at first, then with increasing speed. Memories, frustrations, dreams I'd almost forgotten. 2 hours later, my hand cramps from gripping the pen, 6 pages filled with revelations I'd never allowed myself to acknowledge. You were always the smart one. My college roommate Emma tells me over the phone the next day, "I always wondered why you came home every weekend instead of interning at that television station that wanted you." Celine had auditions, I say automatically. "And you had a future," Emma replies. Later that week, I find myself in a church basement, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, sitting in a circle of folding chairs. "Adult children of manipulative parents," reads the flyer I found at the community center. The stories shared around me echo my own with uncomfortable precision. "They make you feel responsible for their happiness," says a gray-haired woman named Joan. "That's how they control you." Walking home, something clicks into place. My 3 journalism awards, the promotion to lead local reporter last year, the viewers who write in specifically about my city council corruption pieces. None of it happened because of my family's support. It all happened despite their active interference. When I arrive home, they're waiting. Mother at the kitchen table, tissues already in hand. Father standing by the window, arms crossed. Celine perched delicately on a chair, eyes puffy from what I suspect were on-demand tears. "We need to talk," Mother says, voice wavering. "About this New York nonsense." I set my purse on the counter, remaining standing. "It's not nonsense. It's a job offer." "It's abandonment." Mother's voice rises. "After everything we've sacrificed for you, you're choosing career over family." Father turns from the window. "You seem to have forgotten the financial arrangements in this family, Alara. The loans I co-signed. the investments we've made in your sister's future that require your assistance. You've always been jealous of my talent, Celine whispers, the tremor in her voice practiced to perfection. Just because your career is stalled, you want to ruin mine. The familiar guilt rises, then dissipates, like morning fog burned away by unexpected Sunday. I look at them, really look at them. Mother's tissues dry despite her tears, father's calculated stance. Celine's performance worthy of her acting coach's praise. I've already accepted the position, I say, my voice steady. The kitchen falls silent. No one moves. The control they've wielded so effectively for years slips visibly from their grasp. You can't, father finally manages. I did, I reply. 2 days ago. In the days that follow, my phone fills with unexpected messages of support. Thomas from the politics desk sends links to affordable apartments in Brooklyn. My cousin owns this building, his text reads. Great security. Female super. Mrs. Winters from next door knocks on my door holding a set of spare keys. You can store whatever you need in my spare bedroom, dear. It'll be safe until you get settled. Rebecca creates a group chat with 3 friends from her NYC advertising firm. Alara's coming to the city, she announces. Networking dinner when you arrive. Most surprising is the sealed envelope Davis hands me after the evening broadcast. Recommendation letter, he says gruffly. Been working on it since you mentioned the CBS interest 3 months ago. Figured you'd need it eventually. I sit alone in my apartment that night, opening my personal email account, the one no family member has access to. The unopened message from Gerald Fontaine, CBS executive producer, sits in my inbox. With shaking fingers, I click it open. Miss Wilson, it begins. We're pleased to formally offer you the weekend anchor position at CBS New York, with potential for national correspondent work during the week. Your trial segments impressed the entire executive team. I scroll through contract details, salary figures that make me blink twice, start date circled in red. Exactly 3 weeks from today. Below it, confirmation of first month's rent paid on a Brooklyn Heights apartment, security deposit handled, moving allowance authorized. I close my laptop and look around my half-packed apartment. They thought they were fighting to prevent me from accepting an offer. They never realized I'd been preparing for months, every detail arranged with the precision I bring to my investigative pieces. For the first time in years, I smile without reservation. They tried to build walls, but all along, I was quietly building wings. On Thursday morning at the bank teller slides the forms across the counter. That's the last of them, Miss Wilson. Your name has been removed from all joint accounts. Thank you. I tuck the papers into my leather portfolio, another item checked off my list. The past week has unfolded according to my carefully crafted plan, a plan I started building the moment I walked out of that kitchen with the CBS letter. Yesterday, I slipped into my parents' house while everyone attended Celine's commercial callback. The spare key turned silently in the lock as I retrieved my birth certificate, passport, and childhood photos from the family filing cabinet. Nothing I didn't legally own, nothing they could claim I stole. Just reclaiming pieces of myself they'd stored away, like so many other parts of my life. This morning, I called Celine's landlord and transferred my name off her lease. The conversation was brief, professional. I set up the automatic transfers next 3 months of partial support that will stop abruptly after 90 days. A transition period, not a lifetime commitment. My phone buzzes as I leave the bank. Father's name flashes on the screen, his 3rd call today. Alara. His voice wavers when I answer. I'm at County General. They're running tests on my heart. The familiar guilt rises, but something new rises with it, recognition of the pattern. Which doctor are you seeing? I ask, my tone neutral. Dr. Miller. A pause. He says I need family around me right now. I stop walking. Father, Dr. Miller retired last year. You mentioned it at Thanksgiving. The silence stretches thin before he clears his throat. I meant the new cardiologist. His name slipped my mind. I hope everything's all right, I say. Keep me posted. I end the call before he can elaborate, before the next layer of manipulation unfolds. 20 minutes later, Mother calls about grandmother's brooch suddenly missing. Desperately important, and only Alara would know where to look. By evening, Aunt Martha appears unannounced at my apartment door, her expression grave as she declares she's come to talk sense into me. I offer her tea, but not explanations, not anymore. At the station the next morning, I stand in front of my colleagues with my head high. I've accepted a weekend anchor position at CBS New York. I announce, my voice steady. My last day here will be the 28th. The congratulations pour forth immediately genuine, warm, enthusiastic. Thomas clasps my shoulder. They'd be fools not to snatch you up, he says loudly enough for everyone to hear. During my lunch break, I post a single factual update on my social media, excited to announce I've accepted a weekend anchor position with CBS New York starting next month. Grateful for this opportunity, and looking forward to this next chapter. Within minutes, my phone begins a symphony of notifications. Colleagues, college friends, journalism contacts, all offering congratulations. Their voices drown out Celine's earlier posts about being abandoned and left to struggle alone. That evening, as promised, I attend the family dinner at my parents' house. The dining room feels smaller somehow, the walls closer, the air thicker with unspoken accusations. The station threw you a goodbye party, Mother says, placing a casserole dish on the table with unnecessary force. Sharon Peterson mentioned it at the grocery store. I suppose our invitation got lost in the mail. It wasn't a party, I say, arranging my napkin on my lap. It was an announcement during the morning meeting. Father stares at his plate. Your aunt says you were quite cold to her when she came to visit. I offered her tea, I reply. We had a pleasant conversation. Celine pushes her food around. I had to cancel my audition today. There was no one to run lines with me. The silence that follows would have once crushed me under its weight. Now I simply reach for my water glass. My lease in New York starts on the 1st, I say. The moving company comes Tuesday. Mother's fork clatters against her plate. Tuesday? But Celine has that commercial callback Wednesday. She needs you to drive her. Her car's still in the shop. I've arranged for an Uber account, I say. It's already loaded with enough credit for 3 months of auditions. Celine's eyes widen. 3 months? What happens after that? You'll need to budget for transportation from your acting income, I say, my voice gentle but firm, the same way other adults do. Father's face darkens. Now listen here. I've already transferred my name off your lease. I continue, turning to Celine, and removed myself from our joint accounts. There's a folder on your coffee table with everything you need to know about taking over those responsibilities. The kitchen clock ticks loudly in the silence that follows. I take another bite of casserole, the same recipe Mother has made for 20 years. It tastes different tonight, or perhaps I'm the one who's changed. You've clearly made your decision, Father finally says, his voice tight. I meet his gaze directly. Yes, I have. For the first time in my adult life, I don't apologize for choosing myself. A day before moving, the doorbell rings as I place the last framed photo into a cardboard box. Through the peephole, I see Celine's perfect mascara-streaked face. Behind her stand Mom and Dad, their expressions a practiced blend of concern and disappointment. I open the door but block the entrance with my body. I'm busy packing. There's been an emergency, Celine says, voice trembling. My agent called. I have an audition for a Netflix series tomorrow, but my car broke down and you need me to drive you, I finish. Even though I'm leaving for New York in 24 hours. Mom pushes forward. It's not just that, Alara. There are documents for the family trust that need your signature before you go. She waves a manila folder. Just one more thing we need you to handle. Dad clears his throat. We also need to discuss the timeline for your sabbatical. Sabbatical? My fingers tighten on the doorframe. That's what we've been telling everyone? Mom explains, her voice softening to that honey-sweet tone she uses when manipulating relatives. That you're taking a brief career sabbatical in New York. People understand sabbaticals. If you really loved us, Celine whispers, you wouldn't make this permanent. The words ignite something in my chest. I step back, gesturing them inside with a sweeping arm motion. Come in. It's time we talked. They file past me, eyes widening at the stacked boxes and empty walls, the reality of my departure finally registering in their expressions. Sit down, I say, pointing to the couch. I remain standing, surrounded by the physical evidence of my escape. For 30 years, I've been the daughter and sister you wanted me to be. My voice sounds different, steadier, stronger. I drove you to auditions, Celine. I paid your rent when you couldn't. I skipped promotions to help you rehearse. That's what family does, Mom interjects. No, that's what I did. Only me. I walk to the kitchen counter where a blue folder sits waiting. I've prepared for this moment. Let me show you what family really means to all of you. I open the folder and remove a stack of bank statements. These are the transfers I've made to Celine's account over the past 5 years, $47,000. Celine blinks rapidly. You offered to help. I place a printed calendar on the coffee table. The red marks are career opportunities I missed for Celine's auditions. The blue ones are family emergencies that somehow resolved themselves when I arrived. Dad shifts uncomfortably. You're making this sound calculated. Because it was. I pull out my phone, open my text messages. March 4th. Celine, can't make rent again. Please don't tell Mom and Dad. June 12th. Need you to call in sick and drive me to Chicago audition. Super important. I scroll further. September 28th. Borrowed your blue dress for my date. Spilled wine, threw it out, sorry. The silence in the room grows heavier with each revelation. You always talked about how close our family is. I continue. But this isn't closeness. It's dependency. And manipulation. I turn to face them fully, standing tall among my packed belongings. I will always be your daughter and sister, but never again your caretaker. Dad rises, face flushing. After everything we've sacrificed. What exactly did you sacrifice? I ask quietly. Name one thing you gave up for my journalism career. His mouth opens, then closes. For the first time in my life, my father has no answer. Mom's eyes fill with tears. This isn't like you, Alara. You're being so cold. This is exactly like me. You just never bothered to notice the real me. I walk to my bookshelf and remove a slim volume. I cross the room and hold it out to Celine. Basic Financial Management for Adults. I bought this for you 3 years ago. You never opened it. She takes it, her perfect eyebrows drawing together. I don't need this. I need you. No, you want me. There's a difference. I reach into my pocket and remove my parents' house key from my key ring. The small brass key catches the light as I place it on the coffee table. I won't be coming back for Sunday dinners or holiday photo sessions or emergency Celine sitting. You can't just abandon your family, Dad says, his authority crumbling with each word. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm choosing myself. Mom dabs at dry eyes. What will people think? That's not my concern anymore. Celine stands suddenly, panic replacing her calculated distress. What about my audition tomorrow? What about my rent next month? I look at her, really look at her perhaps, for the first time. My beautiful, talented sister who never learned to stand on her own. Figure it out, I say simply. The sun has barely risen when the taxi arrives the next morning. I stand on the sidewalk, surrounded by 3 suitcases. Each contains a different piece of my new life. Clothes for my weekend anchor position. Books that shaped my thinking. Personal items that hold meaning only to me. My family stands huddled together near the apartment entrance. They arrived unannounced at dawn, a final attempt to witness or perhaps prevent my departure. The driver loads my bags one by one. Each thud of a suitcase in the trunk sounds like freedom. I slide into the back seat without a backward glance. As the taxi pulls away, I catch a glimpse in the side mirror 3 figures growing smaller on the sidewalk, looking lost and bewildered in the morning light. For the first time in 30 years, I am not responsible for their feelings, and the anger that fueled me through this confrontation begins to transform into something lighter, something that feels dangerously like joy. 3, 2, 1. The floor director points at me, and I'm live. Good evening, New York. I'm Alara Wilson with your weekend report. The words flow naturally, my voice steady as I deliver the day's headlines. 6 weeks into my anchor position, and the nervous flutter in my stomach has transformed into a gentle hum of excitement. The studio lights warm my skin as I transition between segments, asking questions that matter, steering conversations toward substance rather than spectacle. When we cut to commercial, Diane, my producer, flashes a thumbs up. Perfect timing on that transition, Alara. I return to my modest apartment in Brooklyn after the broadcast. It's small but entirely mine plants thriving on the windowsill, bookshelves arranged by topic rather than anyone else's system. No permission needed to hang the watercolor painting I bought from a street artist last weekend. My coffee mug sits unwashed in the sink without anyone's disapproving sigh. My phone buzzes with texts from the weekend team inviting me to Sunday brunch. These new friendships feel different colleagues who value my insights, who ask about my ideas rather than what I can do for them. We talk about stories that matter, laugh over industry jokes, plan hiking trips upstate. Nobody needs me to drive them anywhere or expects me to cancel my plans for their emergencies. Monday morning, I scroll through social media while waiting for my coffee to brew. Celine has posted photos from a job interview, her first real one, wearing the blazer I left behind. Dad commented with awkward encouragement. Another post shows Mom learning to use the new coffee maker, the kitchen counter cluttered with cookbooks she never needed when I handled meals. The sight doesn't bring me joy exactly, but something adjacent to it, validation perhaps, or quiet satisfaction. They're learning to function without their foundation, without me. My phone rings precisely at 7 that evening, my scheduled weekly call home. The dishwasher's making that noise again, Mom says immediately. We thought maybe you could. Have you called the repair service I wrote down in the kitchen drawer? I ask, stirring pasta on my stove. A pause. Well, no, but give them a call tomorrow. They're very reliable. I keep my voice kind but firm. How was your book club meeting? The conversation lasts exactly 30 minutes. When Dad mentions Thanksgiving with a loaded pause, I respond with my prepared boundary. I'll fly in Wednesday evening and leave Friday afternoon. I've already booked the tickets. Their silence speaks volumes, but I don't rush to fill it anymore. 2 months later, I'm preparing a human interest piece on career transitions, when my personal perspective suddenly illuminates the story in a way textbook journalism never could. On air, the words come from somewhere authentic. Sometimes the bravest choice is choosing yourself. My inbox fills with viewer messages, people seeing themselves in my reporting, connecting with the quiet truth beneath the headline. When the national correspondent offer arrives, I negotiate confidently for better terms. The old Alara would have accepted whatever was offered, grateful for the opportunity. This Alara knows her worth. I call home with the news. Their congratulations sound restrained, almost reluctant. That sounds very demanding, Mom says. Will you have time to visit? I'll make time for what matters, I answer. Later, my colleagues raise glasses in celebration. I slip away early, standing at my apartment window, overlooking the city lights. I press my palm against the cool glass, feeling the vastness of possibility beyond. They tried to stop me, but in the end, they taught me how strong I really am.